She's back. Hillary Clinton taking the spotlight, slamming President Trump over his Supreme Court pick.
I used to worry that they wanted to turn the clock back to the 1950s. Now I worry they want to turn it back to the 1850s. This nomination holds out the threat of devastating consequences. They are trying out of America.
Well, here to react is Michele Malkinn, host of Michele Malkinn Investigates on CRTV. Michele, good morning. So she says 1850s. What in the world could she be implying?
Yeah, you know, we're turning back the clock. It's an apocalypse for America that a respected Supreme Court nominee who's been praised by academics on all sides of the aisle for his commitment to the rule of law is on the cusp of joining the Supreme Court. There's probably been a run on paper bags this past week or so, given the hyperventilation that we've seen from every last one of the far leftists in the Democrat Party. And I think that's what's been most useful, guys, is that we're seeing the true colors. You know, the mainstream media is always labeling mainstream American thought as quote unquote far right, but whether we're talking about the abolish ICE radicals or all of these fill-in-the-blank placard resistance, we're going to oppose any nominee brought to the table by President Trump extremists. These are far leftists, and if they keep their mouths running the way they are, whether it's Hillary Clinton or her acolytes who are now going to spend $5 million to oppose Brett Kavanaugh, this is nothing but good news for the Republican Party.
And Michele, to your point, we've seen just in the last 48 hours or so a number of Democratic senators in, let's call it mainstream America, saying, hold your horses, Chuck Schumer. We're going to decide this nominee based upon our own convictions, based upon what our constituents want, not based upon some liberal ideology that you and Nancy Pelosi are shoving down our throats.
Yeah, so there are a few sane Democrats out there, and their sanity, of course, comes from the looming midterms and 2020, and I suppose there are a few of them out there that understand that the key to GOP success is for the party to simply embrace its base. The key to Democrat success is to run as far and fast as possible away from these extremists and far leftists. So, yeah, a couple of them will rise up against Chuck Schumer, and yes, Brett Kavanaugh will be confirmed. But no thanks to these people. Like, look, you've got Brian Fallon out there now, who was an operative for Hillary Clinton, who's running this anti-Kavanaugh campaign, threatening independent academics now in these institutions who have spoken up for Brett Kavanaugh's legal integrity.
Yeah, they'll be banished from the Democratic Party. Well, what's the other thing happening right now is, of course, President Trump is in Europe. He's got a big summit with Vladimir Putin coming up, and the media has been covering it just like they covered when Barack Obama went to Europe. Thankfully, we have videotape and the beauty of the Wayback Machine. We're going to just compare a little bit the way they're covering Trump now and how they covered Obama in 2009. Listen.
Trip to the UK is going as smoothly as we all thought. Not.
Most Europeans were going to like whoever replaced President Bush. But there's no doubt Michele and her husband have an extra je ne sais quoi.
She's also used to meeting controversial figures. Putin, Assad, Mugabe, Ceausescu. Donald Trump is now another member of that list.
What the Obamas bring to Buckingham Palace is a charisma not seen since the Kennedys.
The president's making his way across Europe and leaving kind of a trail of controversy as he goes.
He certainly is.
Saying it again, I'm getting a thrill.
So, geez.
Michele, a je ne sais quoi. What do you say about this very different coverage for these two presidents?
Yeah, je ne sais quoi. The only French I speak is mon Dieu, the freak out and the obsequiousness from the the European press and the American press, for that matter, that put everyone else's interests above our own. You know, and I could talk, and I have talked about how proud I am that we have an American president who stands tall and unapologetic about protecting our interests, contrasting with the apology tours that marked the Obama administration. But I also want to make note of how proud I am of our First Lady. She's never going to get the accolades, right, of the European press for her style and her panache and her grace. But there are so many of us in the American mainstream and in flyover country who will never be represented by these elites, whether it's in the New York media or Paris or London. And she served us very well over these past days in Europe.
Hats off to her fashion diplomacy. It's really amazing.
Michelle, thank you.
Yes, and not only that, but again, not her style, but her intelligence as well, the two of them.
Amen. She speaks 4 more languages than I do. All right, Michelle, thank you very much.
That's right.
Appreciate it. I don't even speak English
Take care,
well.
guys.